I mean, if you fail one, you're fired. Like, that's going to happen.
Well, actually, before my first day, I already got an email saying that I was fired from it. Because we'd fail, and you'd sit us down and be like, so what'd you learn? Well, at least you learned something. Don't do it again.
It's funny, the other day, you were like, I'm going to do the dad thing. All right, what'd you learn from that?
Yeah, exactly. The most classic question.
So, Brayden, welcome to the 24/7 Mindset Show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got like 14 questions here I'm going to ask you.
I'm nervous about your questions, yeah.
Yeah, instead of sending him an email the first day, test, right? I'm like, you're fired.
In all caps.
In all caps. And you thought you were getting written up the next day?
Yeah, that was a great text to wake up to, too.
Caleb and I have been having a lot of fun with Mr. Brayden here.
A lot of fun.
It's been pretty surreal because, like, let's talk about you and Caleb for a second. So Caleb has been my executive assistant for 9 years, and then 2019 he got promoted to the client concierge manager. But this is the same dude that would ground you or help you smuggle girls over the house when mom and dad were out of town. How does it feel like working with Caleb now?
It's weird because I feel like my relationship with Caleb in the past has always been like fun.
Yeah.
And then like I come here and he's like so strict on everything. I'm like, bro, what? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
But it's been fun.
Have you gotten more respect? Because Caleb's always been a buddy of yours. And getting to see Caleb like in his work environment, what he successfully built and how well that whole environment is.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I didn't realize like how in-depth the process was, and like he's very knowledgeable. It's very impressive for sure.
Have you called your younger brother and apologized yet?
No, I don't think I will.
So Alexander the Great, and this is Brayden the Brave, he started dialing for us probably about a month ago, and he got 8 appointments last month. But his first day, he called a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And the guy was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything from Wally, but I'm gonna schedule Wally so you get your bonus." And I remember listening to that call because we record all our calls, and then you were giving Alex crap because you were like, "That was a layup."
Yeah, I mean, I might give him a call today actually.
To see if he can appointment.
See if he wants another appointment.
Okay, all right, that's more bonuses. But yeah, I mean, do you understand now it's a hair harder than what you thought before you joined?
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was just call the client. If they're interested, you just press a button and they're there. But there's a lot more like information you have to know about for sure.
Like what? What's intrigued your interest?
Just the whole process of everything. Like the things you have to know, different ways you have to say things to try to not scare off the clients where it doesn't sound like a sales call and it sounds like you're actually trying to help them. So I think that's one of the big things I've learned.
What surprised you the most from hearing dad over the phone all these years to like the architecture of a conversation and leading a client down a path?
I feel like you definitely made it sound more easier than it is, for sure. I thought it would be a lot easier than what it was, but yeah, I think it's just, you gotta learn the steps, and once you get the steps down, it's hard to like master, I feel like.
Okay.
Or hard to learn, easy to master. So once you learn all the steps, and you can master those steps, and I don't feel like it's extremely hard, in my opinion.
Well, you're a great golfer today, but you remember when you started? Hard to start, but easy to master. It's like, don't you kind of test this like a puzzle? And once you figure out where the puzzle pieces are, it's so easy to understand like how they all work together.
Yeah, I feel like once you start it kind of snowballs down and gets bigger and bigger and easier to go along.
Yeah, and then your confidence level goes up.
For sure, yeah.
You realize like, okay, cool, I had a bad call, on to the next.
Yeah.
And I think it's the most important thing about life is so many people think it's either you fail or you succeed, but failure is part of succeeding. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is yesterday you dialed for 8 hours and you got 0 appointments. And what's awesome about it is like you got your teeth kicked in and you got no results for your teeth kicked in, but you came back today and you're hitting the phones again today.
Yeah, definitely yesterday was not a good day. Hopefully that day doesn't ever happen again.
But it will.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about it is like, I remember where my shift with you was, and I used to come home and tell you, Dad got 3 locks today, or Dad got 2 contracts in the day, to the point where you started saying, Dad, how many appointments you get today? Or how many locks you get today when you come home from school? And it shifted to, man, here's where I screwed up today. And I think you probably saw, did you see a shift in me? Probably, I don't know, I think you were maybe 16, 17. Because I saw a shift in you, and as a father, I've had a crap ton of success and a lot of accolades. Me coming home to you and telling you, hey, this is where I failed today. I wanted for you to see my success was reachable instead of, oh, dad's on a pedestal, he's accomplished all this, he's perfect.
Yeah.
Because failing is part of succeeding. Is that all in my head, or did you ever notice that?
No, I definitely did notice that. I feel like the shift you're talking about is kind of when it went from dad telling me all these terms and like when I would sit on the phone call, just sit in the back of my head because like, well, I was in like freshman year of high school, wasn't really thinking about it until like probably around 16, 17, I really started to think about it and try to understand the process a little more.
Yeah. And what he's referring to is like, you know, I'd come home from work and I'd do my phone calls in the garage, or I'm on the phone with a client or whatever the case is, or if I'm in the COVID, he was in my office quite a bit. And we would do these annual mortgage reviews during COVID or whatever, and I'd close the deal with the borrower, and then I'd get off the phone. I'm like, hey, you notice that dad went this way, the borrower went that way, and this is how dad framed it, and here's how I led him down a path. And I've enjoyed your evolution of your verbal strength, especially for a 20-year-old. I don't think moms really enjoy your verbal strength.
Definitely not.
I remember, and hopefully she watches this and I don't get too much trouble, but I remember it was one time I was walking into the kitchen, you and mom were arguing about something. She goes, quit arguing with me. And your response back, what your objection handler back was, Mom, I'm not arguing. This is a conversation. You share your point and I share my point. And it was right when I walked in the kitchen and I started laughing. And she goes like, whose side are you on? And I'm like, I mean, it was a good objection handler.
Well, the worst part is like every time we'd have like those, I guess you call them arguments. They were really arguments, but then you would come in and then all of a sudden the argument was over very fast. And so those were the worst.
There's a trump card. I would like to stay married, and I will side with your mother 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I've learned that plenty of times.
But I think you've learned that, but you've learned to maneuver around. I'm going to push this as far as I can with mom, but I don't push it too far because she'll call in dad.
Yeah, and the worst part is dad doesn't really have a ceiling.
No, there's
no ceiling.
Let's talk about that. What's your let's talk about it. What do you mean by ceiling? And I want you to be as transparent, as honest as you want.
I feel like the ceiling's definitely changed over the years. I think when I was younger, the ceiling was a lot higher. I feel like you've gained a lot more patience with us, because I feel like when we were younger, it was always just yelling at us and getting on to us 24/7. And then I feel like once we got to like a certain age, it was kind of like, hey, instead of me screaming at you in your face and you just getting more mad at it, then it was more like, hey, like calmer tone and like kind of trying to teach us out of the situation.
Yeah.
So I think your approach definitely changed as we got older.